He had never been touched with love. Only fear. Only pain. Every time a hand reached for him, he flinched. Every loud noise, he cowered. Every corner, he hid. He wasn't just scared. He was broken. A German shepherd with eyes that had forgotten what hope looked like. To the world, he was just another damaged dog. Too far gone. Too much trouble. Too hard to save. But then, she walked in. One woman. One moment. One soft voice that refused to give up. And that changed everything. This isn't just a rescue story. It's about trust, healing, and how even the most shattered soul can still learn to feel love again. Stay with me. Because what happens next will restore your faith in kindness. Before she found him, he lived in silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that echoes with fear. The kind that's filled with the sound of your own heartbeat, racing, panicking, because you never know when the next hit is coming. He was found behind an old, rusted fence on the edge of a forgotten property. A place where no one should ever keep a living thing. There was no grass, only dirt, mud, and broken bottles. No food bowls. No water. Just scraps. And him, curled up in the farthest corner like he was trying to disappear. His fur was matted. Ribs clearly showing. He wasn't aggressive. He wasn't barking. He just stared. Frozen. As if even existing was too painful. No wagging tail. No curiosity. No reaction when the rescuers approached. Only a quiet, shaking body, and a pair of eyes that looked completely empty. They said he might have spent years like that, locked away, neglected, unloved. Maybe even beaten. Maybe worse. No one really knew. And honestly, he didn't need to speak. His body told the whole story. This wasn't just a dog who needed food. He needed something deeper. Something many believed he might never feel again. Trust. But just when it seemed like he'd given up on the world, someone else stepped in. Someone who believed that even the most broken hearts can be healed. And that's where her story begins. She wasn't new to rescue. She had seen dogs in terrible conditions before. But when she first laid eyes on him, something in her stopped. He wasn't just afraid. He looked hollow. Like no part of him believed help was real. Like even hope had abandoned him a long time ago. She stood quietly at the edge of his space, not making a sound. No sudden moves. No outstretched hands. Just her presence. Minutes passed. Then hours. He didn't move. Not toward her. Not away. Just watched her from behind tired, guarded eyes. She spoke softly, like a whisper meant for his soul. No commands. No pressure. Just words. I see you. I'm not here to hurt you. He didn't respond. He didn't need to. His silence was loud enough. Over the next few days, she returned. Same spot. Same posture. Same soft words. She brought fresh food and water, leaving them just within reach. Sometimes he ate. Sometimes he didn't. But every single time, he watched her. She didn't try to pet him. She didn't try to rush the connection. Because she knew. This wasn't about fixing a dog. This was about healing a soul. And healing doesn't come with a deadline. Then one day, something changed. A tiny shift, barely noticeable. He didn't flinch when she knelt down. He didn't retreat when she placed the bowl. He didn't look away. He looked at her. Not through her. Not past her. At her. And in that brief moment, there was a flicker. A hint of something that had been missing all this time. Recognition. He didn't trust her. Not yet. But for the first time, he didn't fear her either. And that was everything. But the hardest part was still ahead. Trust isn't built in grand moments. Sometimes, it's built in silence. In stillness. In the space between fear and hope. She came back. Every day. Rain or shine. No treats. No tricks. Just time. Just presence. She would sit across the yard, legs crossed, hands resting in her lap, eyes low. No eye contact. No expectations. Just quiet. Some days, he wouldn't move. Others, he'd watch her, barely blinking. It went on like this for weeks. Most people would have given up. said he was too far gone, said he wasn't worth the effort. But she didn't see a lost cause. She saw a soul worth waiting for. And then, one day, he stood up. Slowly. Cautiously. And walked a few steps closer. Not much, but closer than before. She didn't react. Didn't speak. Didn't even move. Because even the smallest progress was sacred. The next day, he came closer. Then closer still. One afternoon, she held out her hand, just an open palm. He stared at it, frozen. Torn between curiosity and fear. Then, he took one small step forward. Sniffed. Paused. And for the first time, he didn't run away. It wasn't much. But for a dog who had spent his whole life avoiding touch, it was a miracle. He still wouldn't let her pet him. Still flinched at sudden noises. Still woke up from sleep with wide, panicked eyes. But something was shifting. Not fast. Not easy. But real. Because healing isn't always loud. Sometimes, it whispers. And this was the whisper of a heart learning to beat again. And soon, he would do something he had never done before. Something so small, but so powerful, it would bring her to tears. It happened on a quiet afternoon. The sky was soft and gray, and the world seemed still. She was sitting where she always did, calm, steady, patient. No pressure. No agenda. Just presence. He had been inching closer every day. A step here. A sniff there. But today, felt different. He walked up to her, not fast, but without hesitation. And then, he stopped just inches away. She stayed still, her heart pounding, hands relaxed. And then, he did something she had never seen him do. He lowered his head. And gently, softly, he rested it on her knee. Time froze. This wasn't just contact. This wasn't just physical. It was trust. A moment of surrender. Of saying without words, "I'm tired of being afraid. I want to believe you." Her eyes welled up with tears. She didn't move her hand. Didn't ruin the moment. She just sat there, completely still, while his trembling body finally stopped shaking. For the first time, he let himself breathe. Let himself feel safe. Let himself rest. It took weeks to reach that moment. Weeks of silence. Of setbacks. Of showing up, again and again. But in that one gentle act, everything changed. He was still scared. Still learning. But now, there was connection. A fragile, beautiful thread had been formed between two souls. One shattered. One stubbornly kind. And that thread, it would carry them through the rest of his transformation. Because from that moment on, he was no longer just surviving. He was healing. After that day, things started to change. Not all at once. But little by little. You could see it. The fear in his eyes began to soften. The way he walked, less tense. His ears perked up just a little more when she arrived. And that tail that had been still for so long. It wagged. Just once at first. Then again. And again. She gave him a name. A soft, gentle name that rolled off her tongue like a lullaby. He didn't respond at first. But over time, he started to recognize it. Started to recognize her. He began following her around the yard. Not too close. Not too far. Just enough to say, "I think I trust you now." One day, she brought a toy. A simple rubber ball. He stared at it like it was from another planet. But eventually, curiosity won. He sniffed it. Pawed it. Then, he nudged it back toward her. It wasn't a game yet. But it was a start. A few weeks later, he did something no one expected. He ran. Not away. But freely. Joyfully. She opened the gate to a large open field. And he just bolted. Not with fear. With freedom. Mouth open, ears back, legs kicking up the dirt. Like he had been waiting his whole life to feel that wind on his face. From flinching. To fetching. From hiding in corners. To lying beside her with his head in her lap. He learned to accept belly rubs. To play with other dogs. To sleep through the night without waking up in panic. The dog that once looked like he didn't even want to live. now couldn't stop smiling. And every time she looked at him, she didn't see the scars. She saw the strength. Because this wasn't just a rescue. It was a rebirth. But there's still one part of this story left. The part we need to carry forward. Not every dog gets a second chance. Not every soul finds someone willing to wait, to care, to heal alongside them. But he did. And because of that, he learned that the world isn't only made of pain. He learned that hands can be gentle. That voices can be kind. That love doesn't always come with strings. All it took was one person. One woman who looked at a trembling, broken dog and said, "You're worth saving." Let that sink in for a moment. Because out there, right now, there are thousands of dogs just like him. Terrified. Alone. Misunderstood. Waiting for someone to see them. To really see them. And maybe you're not a rescuer. Maybe you've never fostered or adopted. But kindness. Kindness is something we all have to give. It shows up in how we speak, how we care, how we choose to treat the ones who've been forgotten. Because the truth is, sometimes, the ones who need love the most are the ones who don't know how to ask for it. And when you meet them, whether they walk on 4 legs or 2, don't turn away. Don't say, "It's not my problem." Be the one who stays. Be the one who tries. Because you might be the gentle hand that changes everything. If this story moved you, share it. Let someone else see what patience can do. What healing looks like. What love can become when it's given freely. Because in a world that sometimes feels cold and dark, kindness is still the brightest thing we have.